Hi, I'm Mike from Mike's Carburetor Parts. I'm going to show you how to adjust the float in a Rochester 2-barrel 2-jet carburetor. And at the end of this video, I'll point you to the next 2-jet video. I have several 2-jet videos out there, and I will be adding more. And if you're interested in seeing more videos, be sure to subscribe to our channel by clicking on the image in the lower right hand corner. You'll get alerted whenever I add a new video. Okay, I'll be glad to answer any of your tech questions. Just leave me a comment below the description and I'll get to it as soon as I can. May not be the same day, but I'm pretty fast, and I will answer it the best of my ability. Okay,
I rebuilt my carburetor, but it's still flooding. Do you know what's wrong?
I don't know. Maybe you should have bought your parts at Mike's Carburetor Parts.
so the 2-jet, the 2-barrel, this one can have one of two carburetors. It has this one has a nitrofill, which is not plastic. It is actually nitrofill. It's solid. It can absorb fuel over time. The only way to test them is to weigh them, and they are weighed in grams. We're kind of moving away from the nitrofill whenever we can, whenever they're available. We're using the brass. We found that some of the nitrofills being made now don't seem to be holding up to the ethanol. So if you see black flakes at the bottom of your float bowl, that might be the problem. And here's the brass that we can also use for this one. No, that is not a owie. That's the way they're made. Alright, so back to the adjustment. First of all, you put the bowl gasket on. Anytime you take a carburetor apart, be sure you replace the bowl gasket. They do have kind of a crush effect when you put them together, and if you keep using the old one over and over again, it's bound to leak at some point. All right, so we're going to measure from the gasket up to the seam here. Now the spec, this one here happens to be 3/4 of an inch, but be sure to look at the spec sheet because it varies between automobiles, especially engine size. If you can't find it on the spec sheet, then go with the closest spec for your engine size. A lot of rebuilders just set these level. As you can see, it's pretty much level with the float bowl, or excuse me, with the gasket, so you can do that. So as I said, you measure from here up to the seam. Now the float drop, you got to turn the carburetor right side up. What happens is, as the fuel in the float bowl goes down, this float goes down like this, and the needle comes out of the seat. This one has a little clip on it to help it along. Not all carburetors do, but the 2-jet normally does. So be sure the clip is on there if you got it in the kit. Right? So the measurement here is, again, from the gasket down to this seam. Probably 1.5 inches or so. Okay, make sure that the needle is falling down. If it's not, it may be sticking. Clean that Viton tip off with some mineral spirits or something like that to get the residue off. And I can see it coming down promptly, so I think we're okay there. To adjust it, be sure to take it off the carburetor. If you put any pressure on that needle, the Viton tip will be damaged and you'll have a flooding situation. Happens a lot. So take it out, and where you're going to adjust this for the float level is right here. Just bend it right here. Try not to be bending around here where the nitrofill is hooked onto the brass, or it could break loose. Okay. This is the float drop adjustment here. Just bend it one way or the other, depending on what you need. And you may have to try this several times to get it just right. All right, so now onto the brass. Here's that little clip I was talking about. And it just mounts right in there. Hold up my finger long enough to get it in here. Okay, be sure to set your float to the spec. Don't try to fudge the float to cover up some problem you're having, richness, something like that. Set it to spec. If you're having too rich, flooding, whatever, it's probably something else doing it, not the float level. I don't know why people they latch right on the float level for some reason, but anyway, to measure this one, we're going to measure from the gasket again up to the same spec as the nitrofill. So that will be 3/4 of an inch, and that looks good. And the same thing with the float drop. With the float drop, a little bit different nitrofill. We're going to measure from the gasket to the bottom of the float. And again, make sure, look at your action on the needle. Make sure it looks like it's right and it's not binding. Make sure the float pin's not binding. Okay, you should feel it. Float pins can wear out. So, and again, to adjust it, we're taking the float off. All right, and we're going to bend it right here. We're not going to force it here, or you could break the solder. Then you'll have a leak. The float drop is adjusted with this little tab right here. You just bend it. Simply bend it with a needle nose. That's all you have to do. All right, so you put it back on there and remeasure it, and you're good to go. So let's see. Float drop. Talked about the float drop. All right, so that's pretty much it. Be sure you visit our website, and we have a lot of hard to find carburetor parts for the 2-jet, and our website is at mikescarb.com, MIKESCARB.com. We also have an extensive knowledge base for all your carburetor questions, so check that out. And that's URL is helpmycarb.com. helpmycarb.com. Pretty simple. All right, I appreciate your business, and I thank you for watching my video.